If you don't know what the Viper rover is, it was a rover built by NASA set to be the most important mission of the decade aside from Artemis 3. Unlike the Mars rovers that inspired it, which have a variety of different mission objectives at once, Viper only had one goal: search for and find water ice on the lunar South Pole. Humans need water to survive, so finding ice on the moon is critical to the construction of a lunar base. Because missions like El-Cross, we know that water ice does exist on the moon, but the best spots to mine it are still unknown. That's where Viper would have come in. Built to survive 100 days on the towering plateau of Mons Mountain on the lunar South Pole, this mission will have searched the South Pole for the best places to build a lunar base. I've said this in several videos before, and I'll say it again. If Viper doesn't succeed, we aren't getting a moon base anytime soon. The rover was already fully built and only needed to undergo final testing, so it seemed this mission was about to bring NASA back to the moon in a big way. So you can imagine my shock when on July 17th, 2024, a NASA press conference revealed that the Viper mission was being cancelled, citing cost overruns. This is, without doubt, the biggest mistake NASA has ever made in the last decade, and is one of the stupidest things they've ever done in the history of the agency. There is no valid defense for this decision. There is no excuse that can be made to justify this. As Scott Manley said, I can only hope that this was the result of some political shenanigans that horribly backfired, because I and the rest of the space community cannot see any angle where canceling Viper makes sense. First off, Viper is fully built. The rover is already complete. This makes Viper different from any other cancelled mission. Not only that, but $450 million has already been spent on construction. And the biggest aspect of this that makes this a terrible decision no matter how you look at it, NASA still has to pay for Viper's launch, despite the fact that Viper won't even be on it. NASA is about to pay millions of dollars to launch nothing to the moon. And this is all because of one company, Astrobotic. Peregrine 1 was a mission launched in early 2024 by Astrobotic, and the first mission of the Commercial Lunar Payload Services, or CLPS initiative, where NASA was giving money to private companies to land on the moon. The Peregrine 1 mission went horrendously, with the spacecraft suffering an engine failure shortly after launch that led to the company abandoning the lunar mission entirely, returning Peregrine 1 to Earth to be burned up in the atmosphere. The first CLPS mission ended in disaster, and this is especially bad because Astrobotic was the company in charge of landing Viper. The Griffin 1 mission by Astrobotic was supposed to launch in late 2024 with Viper on it, and given how Peregrine 1 went, not many people were confident this mission was going to be a success. If Peregrine 1 had succeeded, then Viper likely wouldn't have been cancelled. NASA is facing cost overruns because Griffin 1 is getting delayed. Every delay adds more cost, as the people working on the mission need to keep the rover from falling apart and need to get paid. Because of a law from 2004, every time a NASA mission goes more than 30% over budget, an immediate cancellation request is made, where a board will determine if the mission should continue or get cancelled. The decision to cancel Viper was made without input from the people working on the mission, and there was no opportunity for cost-saving measures to be suggested. $450 million already spent on building a rover that is already fully built went straight down the drain, right at the goal line, all because some higher-ups couldn't see the way for the most important mission of the Artemis program so far to be saved. And even though the mission is being cancelled, NASA still needs to pay for the launch of Griffin 1. To add insult to injury, instead of launching the already complete Viper on Griffin 1, they're going to be launching a mass simulator. As in, instead of launching the rover they already have, they're going to slap a big chunk of metal to Griffin 1 where Viper is supposed to be. Even if you don't like space exploration, even if you think it's a waste of time and money, you can still see how ludicrous this is. There is no reality where this is a good decision. If you want the moon to be colonized, you're watching as the mission that is a critical first step in building a moon base gets replaced by a cube of metal. If you want NASA to be defunded, you're watching the agency waste nearly $500 million launching nothing of value to the moon. No matter what side you're on, whether you love NASA or hate it, you should be able to see how stupid this is. And Astrobotic, despite the fact they just caused the cancellation of Viper, is still going to profit off this. Astrobotic is still going to get a paycheck since they're still launching Griffin 1, just with no risk of losing a rover. Viper, if this decision is not repealed, is going to be disassembled. Years of progress destroyed because of a law from 2004 and a company that can't figure out how to land on the moon. This is why people think NASA has lost its touch. This is why people think the US is a declining space power. We're losing missions not to failures in launch or landing, but legal problems. Viper was killed not by a crash landing on the moon or burning up in Earth's atmosphere like Peregrine 1, but by the US legal system. This is not only an embarrassment for NASA, but for the entire country. China is successfully landing mission after mission on the moon, and recently completed the construction of an entire space station, and what is the US doing? We're sabotaging our own space program with bureaucracy. The parts from Viper will be used for different missions. This is also dumb. Taking apart Viper now will only add wear and tear to its instruments, making them less effective. NASA claims that using Viper's parts in other missions will still eventually achieve the same mission goals. That's not true. There's nothing that can replace Viper anytime soon, except for maybe the Endurance rover meant to be Viper's successor. But I literally hadn't even heard of Endurance until the cancellation of Viper, so I doubt it's happening anytime soon. But there is hope. Congress still has the ability to overturn NASA's decision and force them to continue development of Viper. This must happen for all the reasons I've already outlined. Viper is already built. Canceling it now won't save money. $500 million has already been spent, and NASA is still going to need to pay for Griffin 1 whether Viper is on it or not. Yes, Griffin 1 might fail. There's a chance we lose Viper, but I'd rather have the risk of losing a rover than no rover at all. If Viper doesn't launch, then this is just one more way China and its allies rush ahead of the US in space. Just one more way the US declines in space, and that much longer we have to wait for a future off-Earth that will benefit all people on Earth. We must tell Congress that Viper can't be cancelled. There must be room in the budget. The decision to cancel Viper was made hastily with no regard to the people actually working on it or the money already spent. In both the description of this video and the pinned comment, I'm attaching an open letter to the United States Congress asking them to reverse the cancellation of Viper. It's a slim chance it'll actually happen. But again, I'd rather have a small chance than no chance at all. Every signature helps. If you're not a US citizen or otherwise can't sign, then I humbly ask you to share this video wherever you can. This is the first time I'm asking for this on this channel, and I don't feel good doing so, but I feel this is a worthy cause. We must save Viper. Our future in space depends on it. And even if you don't like space, we can't let NASA waste money like this, especially on a mission that's already fully built. If you are in the US, then I ask you to contact your local representative directly in addition to signing the letter. I already did this today, and the more people that do so, the more we show politicians that Viper is a worthwhile cause, instead of using that money to fund the military more than it already is. Again, if you can't sign, spread the word. We need all the help we can get. Saving Viper will be an uphill battle, but it is possible. There's still time to save this mission, for a future on the moon not just for the United States, but for all humanity. Viper's data will give valuable insights on where the best spots to colonize the moon are. Anything you can do, even if it's just telling your friends or family, will help save this milestone in space history. Thank you for watching. If you want to save Viper, sign the letter in the pinned comment, contact your local representative, and spread the word. Together, hopefully, we can save Viper.